It started with footsteps. Soft, careful, consistent. Every night, around 2 a.m., they echoed down the hallway, stopping outside my son's door. Then, silence. Then, the click of the handle. At first, I thought I imagined it. Sleep deprivation can turn shadows into stories. But the sound became rhythm, habit, a pattern carved into my nights. My wife slept beside me, her breathing calm. Too calm. Like someone performing sleep. Her sister, Leela, had moved in 3 months ago. Divorce, debt, pity, reasons my wife repeated like prayer beads until I stopped arguing. She lived rent-free in the guest room, but every night she left it and went into my son's. I didn't know what I feared more, what she might be doing or that my wife already knew. Last night I heard her again. The door, the quiet, the stillness that felt like a secret whispering through my house. I lay there, eyes open in the dark, heartbeat steady but heavy. And for the first time, I realized silence can be louder than screams. Morning came like an apology I didn't believe in. The kitchen smelled of burnt toast and avoidance. Leela smiled at me. Too long, too gently, like someone who knew something I didn't. My son, 8 years old, looked tired, pale, quiet. He didn't meet my eyes. I asked how he slept. He said, "Fine." His voice carried the weight of something rehearsed. That was when the thought hit me. Not like lightning, but like poison. What if she wasn't hurting him? What if it was something else? I noticed the way she touched his shoulder. Casual, affectionate, familiar. Too familiar. And the way my wife's eyes flicked toward her, then away. Guilt, not shock. There was something between them, not just family, something darker. That night, I lay awake again, pretending to sleep. At 1:58, the footsteps came. At 2, the handle turned. I rose slowly, bare feet on cold wood. The hall stretched before me like a tunnel lined with dread. My hand hovered near the door to my son's room. I wanted to open it, to end it, but I didn't. Instead, I turned back and decided to set up a camera. If truth was a knife, I wanted to know exactly how deep it cut. I hid the camera behind the bookshelf. Small, silent, motion-activated. A single eye in the dark, waiting to see what I couldn't. Days passed. I said nothing. I played the role, husband, father, provider. But inside, I was dissecting every glance, every pause. Leela's laughter became static in my ears. My wife's warmth turned artificial, like heat from a dying bulb. I reviewed the footage each morning before work. Nothing, just stillness. Until the 4th night. The motion alert pinged at 2:04 a.m. My fingers trembled, not from fear, but from restraint. I pressed play. Leela entered my son's room. She looked around, closed the door softly. Then she walked to the bed. But she didn't touch him. She reached under his pillow and pulled out a phone. Not hers, mine. She unlocked it, scrolled, took screenshots. Then she whispered, soft, deliberate, "He doesn't know." And a second voice replied, from the doorway, "My wife." I paused the video. The world went quiet. When I hit play again, my wife stepped closer. Her face was half lit, half shadowed, like someone living in both worlds. "I'll delete the messages tomorrow," she whispered. Leela nodded. "He thinks I'm helping with homework." They smiled. At each other. The words that followed were calm, practiced. I can't risk him finding out about us. Us. Not me and Leela. Her and Leela. It wasn't my son. It was my wife. Her sister was her lover. And I'd been the fool financing their little lie under my own roof. The next evening, dinner was quiet. They laughed, shared glances, pretended. I waited until my son was asleep. Then I brought the laptop to the table, pressed play. No words, just video. Their smiles died slowly, like candles smothered one by one. Leela looked at my wife, then at me. I don't, I said. My voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It was final, absolute. I slid 2 envelopes across the table. Divorce papers for my wife, eviction notice for her sister. I've already spoken to your parents, I said. They'll take you both in. Seems fitting. Leela's face crumbled. My wife's eyes filled, but I felt nothing. She tried to explain. I let her. Every word fell flat against the marble table. When she asked if I'd forgive her, I smiled. Forgiveness is for people who didn't plan the betrayal. Then I stood and walked away from the life I'd been financing for 2 strangers who once wore my last name and my trust. I moved out that night, took my son, his blanket, and silence. The house behind me glowed in the dark, warm and false. 2 silhouettes stood at the window, one ashamed, one afraid. I didn't look back. The next morning, the sun rose, but it didn't feel like light. It felt like truth. For years, I believed betrayal came with shouts and slammed doors, but it doesn't. It comes quietly, at 2 a.m. with soft footsteps and whispered lies. Now, when I hear those sounds in my dreams, I don't wake in fear. I wake in control, because I know what silence means. It means they lost everything when I stopped caring, and that's the truest revenge of all.